We live in an increasingly complex city.
Yeah. Living in Dallas, Texas, we have experienced the pros and the cons, I suppose.
The horrible and the awful.
The wonderful and terrific too. Hold your breath.
Today, in this video, you're going to hear the pros and the cons of living in Dallas, Texas. Not just from our firsthand experience, but from Dallas locals themselves.
It may shock you. Fasten your seatbelts.
Starting right now.
Roll it.
To be the best, you have to hustle. And I truly believe my wife, Shani, she's the best.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Shawnee.
We are your Dallas Lifestyle Realtors. Thank you for being here.
Shoot us a text.
And subscribe right now and pound that notification bell. In short, like this video. Shani, are you ready?
Going now. Things to consider when moving to Dallas. Roads.
No, not just the roads, but the potholes that are in the roads.
The potholes are pretty terrible.
And they are horrible. This is gonna cost you tons of money. And that's why all of the auto shops here, they thrive. They thrive. And yes, more potholes. And by the way, they actually created a budget for you to download this app here in Dallas.
And take pictures of the potholes.
Yeah, to submit it so somebody can come out and pour cement. Oh, because someone beforehand had missed, there was a cone there, and maybe they moved the cone, and somehow you're driving, you didn't see a cone, right?
Right.
And boom, you hit a pothole.
Right.
Right? But there should be cones everywhere.
As you can see, Josh is pretty passionate about the pothole problem here in Dallas. Another thing, highways.
Highways will have you missing lots of exits because there are a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, they're really terrible. I am not a native Texan, so learning how to use the highway system here was really hard. There are on-ramps, off-ramps, bridges, tons of traffic. You have to figure out the exact right time to exit and watch for someone who's merging onto the ramp to get onto the highway at the same time.
True.
Really difficult. You can't miss your exit, God forbid, because if you do, you're gonna have to go a mile down the road just to U-turn to get back on the highway, but you're also gonna have to watch for someone merging onto the same ramp that you're U-turning on.
Which explains why there's so many accidents. Because, by the way, if one accident happens, you can forget about being to your appointment on time.
Oh yeah, forget your rest of your day.
Because it's gonna be, you think that construction is a cause of traffic. Actually, it's accidents. That is a good argument.
On top of the construction, the accidents added to the construction, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You'll be sitting on a highway for hours.
You can check out our last video up there about traffic. We go into depth about the Dallas traffic. So, speaking of, let's go ahead and jump to the locals and see what they have to say.
I gotta hear this.
Yes, and it's always a 30-minute drive, no matter where you are. So like in Flower Mound, if you want to hit 5 other areas, you know, that have restaurants or things to do with kids, it's always a 30-minute drive. It doesn't matter where you are in the Metroplex. It's always just a good 30-minute drive, so.
Ooh, the roads here in Dallas, very confusing. Very confusing. You really have to pay attention.
Things to consider when moving to Dallas, definitely the population growth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the population growth.
Me either.
I mean, the population growth is pretty stellar. I mean, I get to meet new people every single day. I mean, I'm a social butterfly, so somebody's coming from another state, or I'm from Australia. Like, they're in other countries. Like, it's a new experience every single day in Dallas. So if you're somebody, like, who likes to be alone,
By yourself?
and you don't like other human beings,
At all.
then Dallas is not the place for you, and it could be a major drawback for you because Dallas is a pretty dense area, and there aren't any more like wide open spaces. Those days are gone, and builders are going on the outer skirts of Dallas, and it keeps just like bleeding outward. So the results are in. Dallas Business Journal did say, by the way, that Dallas is ranked #1 in the nation in raw population growth. That's huge.
That is so huge.
Yeah.
And that's why the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas is estimating there are going to be another 800,000 jobs by the end of December 2021. Right? It's burning up, guys.
Yeah, take a lighter right now and put my hand here, and that's our market.
Yeah.
Our real estate market value has increased by 12% in value in the last year. That's
insane.
Almost astronomical. Like at one offer.
The $300,000 we're asking price offer.
They over-offered.
Seriously.
And they lost. Yeah, they lost. So yes, that's population for you, and you have to like Shani. I mean, tell them about like, because Dallas is pretty congested, and even for you when you first came here, you had like an awkward experience.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was awkward, but I will say this. There is a 20.5%.
Hear about it.
There's a 20.5% poverty percentage here in Dallas, and that might sound like a lot to someone if you're coming from a more rural area or you have never experienced numbers in poverty like that. Because living in Dallas, you tend to see a lot more panhandling and loitering, or at least that's what I thought moving from where we moved to here. That's not something I was used to. And also, a lot of the subdivisions near the highways, on the outskirts of the highways, they experience more like car break-ins and things like that. So that's just something you want to be aware of, because this is a video about the pros and the cons.
And the truth.
And so that's a con, in my opinion.
And it was a shock factor. So let's see what the locals have to say.
Let's see.
So I'm the one out of us two who lives in the area. I live in a suburb, and it definitely has been growing, it seems like. A lot of what I hear is that people who come in from other states where they're kind of used to a more higher cost of living will come here for the lower cost of living. But the effect that has is that sometimes it raises the prices here. So I think you kind of feel the squeeze there when it comes to like housing prices.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gotten a lot bigger. Like Arlington in particular has seen a lot of growth in the last, 5 or 6 years or so.
How have you noticed that growth? What does that look like for somebody as a local in Arlington? Like, wow, Arlington is really growing.
There's a lot of new apartment buildings going up, a lot of new restaurants, and of course, there's a lot of breweries and stuff like that, which is also great to visit.
Okay, the breweries. Okay, we're getting juicy now. Where have you noticed the growth here in Dallas?
I think there's a lot more younger, trendier restaurants. Even stuff like Clyde Warren Park, it wasn't here, 10 or 15 years ago, it wasn't here, and this is new, and people come out. It gives people more green space to live, to get out in the city. I think that it makes it more attractive than it would have been 15 years ago.
And you love that.
I love it.
Something to consider before you relocate to Dallas: bugs and the outdoors. That's right, here's why. When you go outside and you don't have bug spray on, you have a problem. But more on that later. Shawnee has an experience from a specific bug, which is completely harmless.
Well, I didn't know it was completely harmless when we first moved here, but this bug literally flies out of nowhere. Like, it landed on me. It was a huge bug. It was a bigger bug than I had ever seen growing up in upstate New York. So naturally, I freaked out. Like, I was going crazy. It's a giant bug, it's on me, it's gross. But guess what? It's only a June bug, I found out. And June bugs, like Josh said, are essentially harmless. The real bug that you need to be concerned about here in Dallas are the mosquitoes. Because those are the ones, those little boogers, will have you tore up.
Torn up, meaning we have lots of trees. And we have sporadic thunderstorms and it rains, but it's also really hot here. So when you have heat and water, you have humidity, and then that's when all the mosquitoes come out and they're at your toes and they're yapping. And if you don't have your bug spray, it's because somebody forgot to buy it or have it at the party. And since it's not at the party, everybody's complaining about the bugs and they're complaining about the food or their day, and this becomes this whole negative vibe. All because of the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And all because you have the main ingredient that was supposed to be at the party. Shame on your host. Have your bug spray available. It's like having lotion, or it's like having sunscreen.
Or your hand sanitizer.
It's a necessity here in Dallas.
Yeah.
should we say more, or should we get on to the appreciation of the outdoors? Because you can't appreciate the outdoors if you don't have the bug spray.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the outdoors, because as long as you have your bug spray, there's so many fun things for you to do here in Dallas. We've got Trinity River. We've got the Dallas Arboretum. Katy Trail. There's so many things you could do. The Audubon Center.
The Botanical Garden.
We have 4 lakes.
In which one of them is an award-winning lake, the White Rock Lake.
Right.
So you won't be able to appreciate the outdoors if you have your
bug spray.
Okay? And if you're gonna go outdoors and you're gonna enjoy the lands and the wildlife here and see the possums and see the bobcats and the armadillos. That's right.
I don't know why you'd want to see the possums, because they're not cute. That was also my first time seeing a possum when we moved here. And I thought it was a giant rat.
You know, and you think that, oh, I'm gonna go live in the suburbs. I'm gonna be away from the wildlife. Well, explain to me why Frisco, which is like a new Dallas, Frisco had a big issue with coyote attacks.
Yeah, they did.
Why? Because there are a lot of trees. When there are a lot of trees, there is nature. Mm-hmm. So with that, let's see what the locals have to say. Oh, and by the way, should we talk about the allergies, or should we just say, hey, we have trees, so expect there to be some allergies?
We have trees, take your allergy medicine.
All
there
right.
You go.
Josh and Shani forgot to ask the Dallas locals, but don't worry.
Moving to Dallas, know this: guns.
Governor Greg Abbott recently signed into law a bill that authorizes the unlicensed carrying of handguns.
Newsflash: Texas gets ready to allow unlicensed carrying of handguns.
You don't have to like the unlicensed carrying of a deadly weapon.
Perhaps you should be able to defend yourself regardless of karate.
Some people think it's like a fire extinguisher or a seatbelt.
You never plan on getting into a crash or a blaze, but they happen, so you need to be ready.
Pow pow.
I think it just adds to the danger. I think it just makes people like us more afraid to walk openly in public spaces. Just the threat of like someone bringing an unlicensed weapon, or even a licensed one, and you're not aware of it. I don't think it makes me feel safer, certainly.
Do you feel like that will have an impact on people's want to move to Texas, knowing that there's this new law that says you can have an unlicensed weapon or a handgun and you don't have to have it licensed in order to carry it? Do you think that would prevent people from wanting to move here?
I think it's definitely possible. I mean, if you look at things like recent legislation that's happened against other like minoritized groups and things in Texas, it does have an effect on people's mental well-being and just sense of safety and protection. So yeah, I think it could impact people deciding to move here.
Now that Texas gun heat is out the way, let's talk heat.
You mean the weather?
Yeah, like, what's it like living in Texas weather? How hot is it in Dallas-Fort Worth?
I mean, agreed. The weather does get a little spooky here. Right. I mean, and what about tornadoes?
Or how is hail bad in Texas?
I mean, regarding tornadoes, there's really only been one time where I have been absolutely freaked out. And that was last year. We live close to Richardson, which is right outside of Dallas. And there was a tornado that touched down in a neighborhood literally like right next to ours. So here in Dallas, we have sirens to let you know when you really should take cover.
Everyone took cover.
Yeah, and get in your safe space. So we literally had to round up our kids and go get in our safe space and wait for the tornado to pass. And like the house was shaking, the tornado was going around.
That was the first time in my life my knees were actually shaking.
Yeah, like it was really, really scary. But we were fine, and our house was fine. But the next neighborhood over was like destroyed.
Really, that's not scary.
It's the truth, they should know.
Okay, well, let's talk hail, because hail is a thing here.
Yeah.
And it's like not just your typical, wood chip size hail or pellets, as some would reference them.
I mean, Texas weather is kind of intense. I feel like it's like giving me some trauma, like moving here, like not being from Texas. Like Texans don't really give full weight to how the weather really is here. Because like when I first witnessed a hailstorm here, I was picking our son up from school, I was driving into the driveway, and I noticed some of our neighbors loading mattresses on their cars.
Well, because
mattresses.
we have monstrous size hails, like golf ball. Like,
yeah.
It sounds like a golf ball. And I remember this, one of our friends, she was saying how she was at some nearby farm. There was a farm, there were cows. And she said, the cows, she was greeting the cows, they were at the fence. And then next thing you know, she seen all the cows, they just started running the opposite way. And she was watching the cows like, where are they going? And it was because they have a better sense of a bad, thunderstorm or something is coming, and the hail was coming, and they were basically going to take cover, and so she got caught out in the hail.
So that's why the people put the mattresses on their cars to protect them from the golf ball size hail that's going to come shuddering down at them from the heavens and like break your windshields and your windows and dent your car.
Well, fortunately enough, there is a bright side here in Dallas, Texas, and we average about 234 sunny days out of 365 days in a year. That's 234 sunny days, right?
Yeah.
Versus the 205 sunny days, that America averages.
So what he means is
a lot more sunny days here.
That makes the tornadoes and the hailstorms worth it. Because in the summer, it's 95 to 100 degrees most of the time. I mean, it gets in the 80s too, but like definitely more like 90 and 100 degrees. And it's perfect for like lounging by the pool and being in the water and sunbathing. So, I mean, it definitely has its pros too.
Yeah, and if you're somebody who has, straight hair and you're like maximizing your straightness and it's dry, it does get humid here.
Throw that out the window, girl. You're not gonna have
in the months of June, July, early parts of August, it's very humid.
Yeah. But we do have short winters. Winter is really only from like the very, very end of October is when it starts getting cold. And then winter is really from like November till February. And that's it.
Yeah. And by the way, when we moved to our neighborhood, I fell in love with the trees. There's lots of trees in Dallas, okay? So you'll see, autumn leaves just start turning. It's such a beautiful time. Because it's not like a rushing ice cold here in our fall.
Yeah.
It's more of like glimmering beauty.
But you have to be careful because you'll be like excited for fall, but really it's only second summer.
That's right. I like that. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We have this thing here called second summer where you think it's about to start cooling down because you'll get a week of weather where it's like in the 70s and then all of a sudden the following week it's like back to 100.
Well, that's kind of extreme, but just know this. Our first frost date is like December the 21st and our last frost date is like March 19th. We did have an ice storm last year in like February, right?
Yeah.
So it does get cold here. We don't get snow, but we do get some snow.
We get ice and everything shuts down.
Yeah,
so like for a northerner, I'm like, this is ridiculous because there will be like no snow on the ground. Yeah. But Texas is not equipped for this kind of weather. I've learned because they have so many bridges and their bridges get extremely icy when it rains and the rain freezes. So they have to shut everything down. Otherwise everyone goes slipping and sliding and crashing into each other and it's like an apocalypse.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that our urban planners take, weather in consideration because we need bridges for our traffic and all the influx of people coming here. And people have to, get where they need to go. And when the ice is over, we plan on your, city being shut down for a couple of days. It's not a huge deal. Companies aren't losing, a lot of money. They're just losing a little bit of money. And it's still open here in Dallas.
I mean, I think we should see what the locals have to say about our weather.
So tell me, what do you think about the weather here in DFW?
Oh, I love the weather, except for the rain. We've been having a lot of rain the last couple of weeks. But besides the little winter storm we got this year, other than that, it's really nice.
Okay, really nice, always sunny. Tell me about the seasons here. Like, okay, being from you're up north, right?
Yeah.
Ohio. Okay, I'm from New York. So when you first got down here, tell me like how the seasons are in your words.
Okay. I actually moved here from New York as well. But the seasons, I feel like there's no real winter.
Okay.
You have your summer, extra hot summer, and then you go into like 2 weeks of fall, but the leaves don't really fall from the trees like they do up north. And then you go into spring and that's it. No real winter. I mean, I've been here for 13 years and I think it snowed twice.
What do you think about tornadoes?
Oh no, that is scary. I was here for the tornado that happened last October. But you know, it's kind of like living in LA and there's an earthquake every now and then.
Right.
You just never know when it's going to happen.
Have you ever experienced a hailstorm here?
No, where my car was affected? No. Thank God, no. And it's never hit me. So I feel like that always happens up north for whatever reason.
So overall, would you say that the weather here is a pro or a con?
A pro, absolutely, because I have no desire to move back up north. I'm spoiled living here. Oh. Yes, because I can lay out in March.
You hear that? The weather is spoiling her. She can lay out in March. How about that?
Let's talk about diversity and people when moving to Dallas.
I love the culture. I love the people. And when I talk about our culture, it's very diverse. There's like lots of different types of cuisines.
Oh yeah. Like I used to not be a fan of Mexican food until moving to Dallas, and now I'm like such a fan. We eat Mexican all the time.
Yeah, Mexican food. Yeah, there's a thing called here Tex-Mex. And I grew up on Tex-Mex, went to New York.
What is Tex-Mex?
It's basically, in short, everything is bigger and better. Everything is bigger and better here in Texas. Listen, there's a reason why our population has doubled in the last 30 years, right? Our growth rate right now is what, 0.13%.
Yeah.
We've got 1.38 million people here in the Dallas County, and you look at it from an actual metroplex, there's 7.8 million people.
That's a ton of people. And to all my millennials out there, the average age is 33.3. So if you're looking to move to a city with a lot of people around your same age group, Dallas might be a great spot for you.
And the people here are so lovely. They have mannerisms like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
I know. Everyone is very friendly. Well, not everyone. Mostly everyone is pretty friendly. Not being a Texas native, I was surprised to see people saying, hey, how are you? Let me get that. Just very like Southern hospitality. I know everyone hears about it, but it is a true thing. Yeah. But you do know if someone doesn't like you because they'll tell you, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Oh, you poor soul. And I remember living in New York with Shawnee, and I met her, my lovely bride here. We're also realtors. We're the Thomas duo now. But you know, somebody at the door just slammed in my face, and it was like a culture shock to me because here in Dallas, Texas, people hold the door open. That's expected. That's the standard. You can catch somebody holding the door open for 10 people straight. Like they'll help you be the person there holding the door open. Keep going. Go ahead. And it's common here. I was in New York. I was in when I ate fast food. Now I'm vegan. But I asked her, hey, can I get some barbecue sauce? The person got really upset to give me barbecue sauce. And here, barbecue sauce is a handful in your bag. It's just like, it's a must. It's like endless supply. Everything's just bigger and better. Why can't people understand that here in Dallas, Texas?
I don't know.
Just come here and realize the culture and the people. I mean, we've got Indian food, like I said, Tex-Mex, barbecue,
Mediterranean, Chinese food, Thai food.
You've got Southern food,
African food.
Oh, and the vegan options here are endless. I'm vegan. I'm a plant-based lifestyle.
There are lots of plant-based options here, which is amazing.
Yeah, I get really excited about our people and our culture because look, we represent. I'm from Dallas, you know.
Yeah.
And she came back to live in Texas, Texas, for a reason.
Yeah.
And you like it here.
I do like it here a lot.
Yeah. So with that, let's go ahead and see what the locals say about our diversity
and our people.
Yeah, the people.
The food is good. Definitely good.
So you love the food?
I love the food.
Here in Dallas, it would probably be the museums that are around here, and of course this lovely area here as well.
Okay. We also love to go to the lakes, the local lakes around here. We go to Lake Grapevine, Lake Louisville. We like to do that on the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah, there's tons of choices with kids. Zoos, parks, lots of outdoor activities.
Okay. The burritos are bigger in Texas.
Nacho plates are a little bit bigger too?
Bigger, definitely bigger.
What do you think?
I mean, I've been in DFW my whole life, so I love my Tex-Mex.
I really like hang out with my friends. Like sometimes we bike to like the lake or something, or just like go shopping.
Which lake is your favorite and which mall is your favorite?
I like the Grapevine Mall because that's just where I go, and Grapevine Lake.
Okay, perfect. And what about you?
Well, in Dallas, I like to go to the Museum of Illusions
and the art museum.
So the biggest bonus feature when considering living in Dallas is Shawnee's favorite.
Entertainment and social opportunities.
Yeah, and I'm actually scratching my head, Shawnee, because I don't know where to start or where to stop. Like literally, there's so much to do here, right? We've got the museums, we have the galleries, we have the sports, we have, you know, the music, we have, you know, restaurants, we have, you know, like shopping, unlimited shopping, like unlimited supply of shopping. Like the bars and restaurants like are on repeat and replay here. Like literally, like we have, like some would even consider Dallas as a really glitzy city.
Yeah, I would think so.
You know, there's a lot of wealth here. Like the wealthy residents, they pour their time, their energy, and their resources to like lots of nonprofits, organizations. They pour into like the art district here. Like our art district is like ranked #1 biggest urban arts district, spanning over 118 acres, right? The biggest in the USA, right? So like it's a real thing here. And when Shawnee can kind of elaborate on some things to do, like we have kids, so like it's, what are we doing this weekend? It's like, oh.
Oh yeah, I'm always like trying to find what to do and where to go and whatnot with or without kids. I feel like Dallas offers something for everyone, no matter what kind of life state you're in, right? If you like music, we have the Dallas Orchestra and the Dallas Opera House and so many different things where you can get really enriched and get really ingrained in the culture here and what it has to offer. We also get a lot of concerts here at AT&T Stadium.
And the performing arts is huge. Like we have like the Wiley Theater, you know, like the Winspear Opera House. It's like, you know, like you even have like the Black Dance Theater, right?
Right.
And a lot of small theaters too, and that's one thing I can really appreciate about Dallas.
And there's a children's theater here, so if you have a kid who's really animated and you think they'd be a good actor or actress, we have a children's theater, so they can go to the children's theater and like hone their skills.
You don't have to go to Hollywood. You can stay right here in Dallas and like launch into like the performing arts here. But more on that at another time, because we're talking about things to do.
Yeah, I mean, we also have Clyde Park, which is one of my favorites, with or without kids, because sometimes they do concerts there, they do yoga there, they have this big stage, and they're always doing different shows or like different events. Like they've done painting in the park before, and they just have a list of things that the park has going on. It's also really cool because they have food trucks and there's a playground for kids, so it's like a really easy afternoon picnic area with something to do for everyone, because it's also right next to the museums, the Perot Museum. It's not too far from...
Shawty knows, y'all. She knows the places.
I do know. It's not too far from the aquarium. So like Clyde Park is really a great place to go if you want to get out of the house, you want your kids to get some exercise, but you don't want to break the bank.
But I know,
it's like awesome.
Well, yeah, of course now we have kids, but some people watching may not have kids. And you need to know this because you'll appreciate it. Clyde Warren Park is not a place where you just take your family. You can go there on a date.
Yeah, I said it's for anyone.
Yeah, and you can go on a date. And you can go to Deep Ellum, right, where there's bars and there's rolling restaurants of different cuisines. You know, you have shopping centers where, where should we start? Like North Park, where they have a lot of high-end, you know, brands where you can drop $4,000 or $5,000 on one item, right? Yeah. Or you can go to
Bishop Arts District. You could go to Bishop Arts District where everything is like really intimate and the restaurants are small and a lot of local shops and breweries and wine tastings and they have yoga studios down there and they've got a plethora of different things like jewelry shops and like handmade custom items. You can get really pretty things down there in Bishop Arts District. Where else?
You have Lower Greenville Bay, where if you guys want to get really rowdy and crazy with your friends, and you're like, hey, girls' night out, or boys' night out, or mixed night out, you can go there and get crazy, nasty. It's until 2 a.m. in the morning. By the way, the city shuts down at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it does close down at 2 a.m. So like your fun is kind of limited.
But if you're like, oh my God, I love you, you can always catch a cab somewhere. We have the Ubers, we have the Lyfts, we have, you know, the Bubble, and what's the other one that starts with an A?
Oh, Alto?
Yeah, see? You may not know what it is, but we have it. And so you will get back to your home after having a blast of things to do here in Dallas.
The point is, no matter where you are in the Metroplex, there is always something to do and constantly things going on.
And
I think.
What with the biggest sports team in the USA?
I think.
The biggest sports.
That one of the biggest things we have to offer here
sports?
Are the sports. Yes.
The Cowboys.
We have the Cowboys, the Mavericks, the
Texas Rangers.
Not the Astros, that's Houston.
If you're coming to Dallas, there are some battles. Look,
the Rangers, it's the Rangers.
But look, here's the thing. There are some battles, like we have a big sports team. If you're coming here representing your team, be prepared because there's the Dallas Flames, they don't play. We got the Texas Rangers, we have the Stars, the hockey team. Mm-hmm. You have the Dallas Wings, WNBA.
FC Dallas,
the soccer team. And the Chiefs are pretty cheap. All you have to do is fly to your nearest train station.
The Chiefs are pretty cheap?
The tickets are pretty cheap. You heard me. And get on the train and you're there. And be prepared to talk some trash. Okay?
Yeah.
And
Dallas fans are serious.
Yeah, it's a real thing here. So, but mind you, the Frisco McKinney spans, like an hour drive to Fort Worth. Yeah. So there's like an hour drive worth of things to do. Mm-hmm. You can, after you get paid, you can spend your entire check within that 1 hour drive.
But we cannot forget about the highlight of everybody's year, the Texas State Fair.
The biggest cowboy in town.
Yeah.
Stands 52 feet tall and he greets you as you come to the state fair.
You get a day off of school to go to the state fair, okay?
Yeah, everybody has this. The state fair, that's an experience in itself. You get fried literally everything.
Everything.
Fried turkey, fried ice cream.
Fried Oreos.
Fried corn, fried okra, fried pig feet, fried.
If you can put it on a stick and dip it in an air fryer, they'll have it at the state fair.
That's your free opportunity to gain about 15 pounds
in one day
and not be judged. Somebody say, the state fair, of course. It's like a real thing. So, let's talk more about not just our perspectives, but talk with some of the locals and see what they think about
let's do what the locals think.
The social life and the entertainment here in Dallas.
Something to consider when moving to Dallas, the affordability.
Yeah, we're talking about the cost of living in Dallas. But if you want to check out a really extended version of the cost of living in Dallas, all questions answered, check out our video over there or over there. But right now, we're going to give you a quick rush on affordability.
I mean, in my opinion, what I would say in terms of affordability in Dallas is know this. Our market is very hot right now. A lot of homes are selling above asking price within less than 5 days on market. That's just the fact of the matter. So if you're coming here thinking you're gonna get a deal and you're gonna get to underbid on a house, don't come here because that is not what will happen. You will be sorely disappointed.
And they should be thanking us right now because you would be frustrated if you thought you could just come and get a deal here. And you're not going to be frustrated because we just told you there are no deals that exist in Dallas. And here's the evidence. There was a house just recently that had an offer that was above asking by $300,000. $300,000. Our average price for a home here is $359,000. And here in the Dallas County, the average price for a home is $389,000. If you can kind of get the idea, days on market are less than 7 days. Do you understand? Less than 7 days, right? So, you go to any outer suburbs or, builders are going to the outer skirts of Dallas right now.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's more so about what you're willing to pay at this point and less about getting a deal. Dallas is an amazing city. The outer cities of Dallas are also amazing cities, and we're experiencing so much growth, which is what's driving our market to be as crazy as it is.
Yeah, I mean, we literally just had a client who made more than $80,000 in less than a year. Just to give you an idea of like the velocity of how fast our market is moving. But more on that another time. But we're going to really talk about affordability here and keep it hyper focused. That like investors are coming here and they're laying down wads of cash. I'm talking wads of cash by beating other people out by $40,000, $50,000. So you people coming here and you're looking for not just your needs, but you have to decipher what your wants are and where to let go, because you're not just coming to buy, you're coming to compete for your lifestyle.
Yeah, so if I could give a word of advice, if you're shopping online for homes or trying to see what houses look like, and you know you can afford up to $375, look at the houses that are around $345, $350, because you're going to end up offering over asking price, and you want to make sure that you're leaving enough room in your budget and your expectations in order to move here and to have a happy mover transition to Dallas.
Shawnee, you're an appraiser, right? I mean, how do you appraise a house when the buyer offered the seller not just above asking price by $20,000, but they also added in a vacation for 7 days just to make their offer shine a little bit better?
Well, you don't count the vacation.
Well, I mean, that's what's happening here in Dallas.
I know that's what's happening.
And it's like kind of like beyond, it's never happened here in Dallas. This is the first time in history our markets performed like this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And it's a good thing, but it's like you're kind of on a clock, because a house that you bought 2 years ago, you can't afford that today.
Right. I mean, well, there are so many implications with what's happening. The market's increasing, taxes are increasing, home values are increasing at an astronomical rate, which I don't feel like everyone that already lives in Texas might be so happy about, because as your property value increases, your tax value increases as well. So someone who bought a house thinking they would be able to keep their tax value low, they're seeing gains that they didn't expect to see so soon, and therefore their mortgage payments are going up if they still have a mortgage, because now their taxes have gone up too.
Yeah, and the developers, on the last note, one last thing is, the developers are, like I said, they can't build properties fast enough, and literally people are lined up and waiting for lots to become available. So what that means is they're doing lotteries now. So you basically, it's like a huddle of 10 people, and maybe there's 3 lots available, and 3 people get chosen. Yeah. It's not a matter of you competing, it's just whoever names get picked out of the hat. Yeah. Right? So ask yourself right now, is Dallas a place for me, and am I willing to compete for affordability?
Let's see what the locals have to say about the affordability of homes here in Dallas.
I would say, relatively speaking, yes, it is definitely affordable. I have lived in Texas my whole life, and I don't anticipate necessarily moving because it is just so affordable.
So tell us, Josh, the real Josh, why did you move to Dallas, Texas?
I moved here for the cost of living. It's cheaper, the job market is better, and the women outnumber the men 7-1.
Question of the day. What point stood out to you the most in terms of living in Dallas, pros and cons? Let's connect in the comments.
Shop Dallas Real Estate and visit our website, www.thethomasteam.properties. Link in the description below.
Let's connect in the comments. Let us know what videos we can make for you. And by the way, don't hesitate. Subscribe right now. Like this video, or dislike it, or like it. It helps us dramatically.
Real stuff, no fluff. We love you. Bye.